This podcast is produced by Bro Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Vale This week from Bro Radio, our weekly in-depth look at local news, sport and what's going on in and around the Vale of Glamorgan. Coming up, as Remembrance Sunday approaches, Fiona heads to St Athan to hear about a veterans hub that's offering support and connection for local armed forces members. We'll hear about a 172-mile fundraising walk from HMS Raleigh to Barry, which is aiming to raise £15,000 in efforts to create a Wellbeing garden and hub for local service veterans on High Street. Plus, we'll look ahead at the week's local news, sport and events here in the Vale of Glamorgan. But we begin with an issue that we follow closely over the last couple of weeks, how to tackle the Vale's housing crisis. On Thursday, Vale of Glamorgan Council will discuss the findings of a public consultation on housing growth in Barry, where around 5,000 people are currently on the waiting list. Several sites have been considered, including the Bendricks area, south of Barry Docks, where up to 70 new homes could be built. But those proposals have raised concerns for Plaid Cymru, who say there's a distinct lack of community facilities in the local area. Our reporter, Gareth Joy, spoke to Plaid Cymru's group leader on the council, Ian Johnson, and first, Castleland Ward Councillor Millie Collins.
Councillor Collins, I guess to start with, give us some idea of how the Bendricks has grown over recent years.
Well, a few years ago, there weren't that many houses around there. You basically have the houses on Hayes Road, Hayes Lane, Bendricks Road, that rough area. And then, as you're aware, the council built a load of houses around Hayes Road and Hayes Lane, that it has extended quite a bit. Now they're looking to build more houses by the trading estate where you've got Denise's Cafe. So it is grown exponentially. There is a lot more houses now than there used to be, and there's very little facilities over there for people.
What kind of community facilities already exist in the Bendricks?
Well, you've got a play area, you've got the cafe, but you don't really have anything like a doctor's surgery, a community centre, anything like that. The nearest doctor's surgery is Surrey or Waterfront, maybe Practice of Health on Court Road. You've got a vet practice nearer than a doctor's. The dental surgeries is a similar situation. There's no community meeting spaces.
We asked Vale of Glamorgan Council, and their argument is that the Bendricks area is in close proximity to Surrey. Then again, we hear from Surrey, one councillor said that services were already chock-a-block. They're concerned about the impact on the Upper Cost Meston development. Does that hold water with you, the council's arguments?
I actually have my concerns as well. There are a lot of houses going over there with very little public transport. The public transport that is there isn't the most reliable. It stops running after a certain amount of a certain time of night. Yeah, you're going to need a car if you live over there. It's quite a remote area of Barry, considering where the rest of the layout of the town. It doesn't seem to make much sense to be building more houses there without a better infrastructure regarding public transport.
Let me bring in Ian Johnson at this point. Ian, you argue, of course, that the local development plan is meant to be promoting housing sites that are close to the railway line, but this doesn't appear to be the case, does it?
Well, I mean, quite clearly, if you're, there's not a principal issue with housing. It's about making sure that the housing suits people. And the idea of the replacement local development plan that the Vale Council is currently, been consulting on and promoting is that it's alongside the railway in the Vale of Glamorgan. Now, obviously, the Bendricks, which is the south side of Barry Docks, is a long way from the railway. So, as Councillor Collins, Millie has already said, there's the bus service is intermittent. In fact, it was non-existent for a couple of months in 2023-24. It's still I don't think there's any buses that actually run there on a Sunday. So the idea of having increasing the amount of housing near the railway line was to allow it to be more, to be better for public transport, and that obviously isn't the case here. I think the wider issue here is about the growth in housing on the Bendricks and ensuring that the people who are taking up the offer of housing, so all of these have been social housing, one form or another, that there are ordinary opportunities that people in the rest of the town would find normal. It's a normal community, and just continually building houses without considering that doesn't really work.
And let me return to Councillor Collins, because that's a problem you brought up about the lack of a bus service. Obviously, that has its own drawbacks, but does that illustrate for you the scale of the problem here?
Yes, it does. As I said, if you're going to be living over there, it's going to be car dependent. You will need to have a car. There are people over there that don't drive. There are people over there that rely on public transport. I have had comments from people living there when the bus services stopped a while back. I spoke to a few people, I spoke to the council. The council said they were working with the bus providers to get bus services reinstated. However, the bus services are not reliable enough. As Councillor Johnson mentioned, they don't run on a Sunday. Some people do need to go out and about. If you don't have a car, you're pretty much stuck. Taxis are expensive.
And this has all led to your calls for a community needs assessment of the Bendricks area.
Yes, yeah. We've noticed that the large growth over there, they're not really providing people with what they need. As I say, there is no community meeting space. If you wanted to have a community meeting, you would have to go to somebody's house. You would have to rent somewhere else a bit further away. There's no area where you could meet up as a group. And again, this would be public transport related and car dependent if you had to go elsewhere to have a community meeting or a birthday party. There's no community centre.
Looking at the wider issue here, Councillor Johnson, because of course there is a report being discussed by the Cabinet on Thursday into this consultation on housing growth in the town. Are there similarities? Do you feel that there were also similar hazards with regards to community facilities elsewhere in Barry?
So the current report on the the new local development plan includes 3 additional sites. There was a site in the northeast of Barry, between north of St Richard Gwyn, which they decided not to go forward with, and they've replaced that with suggestions for 3 additional sites around Waycott Cross, around down the Bendricks on Hayswood Road, and also on 4th Neptune on the waterfront, where there was going to be a hotel, but the Premier Inn opposite the road, opposite that, has now expanded, and so the suggestion is that area, so opposite the Premier Inn, sort of behind Asda, or on the way by Asda on 4th Millennium, should be turned into housing. That seems an obvious, a bit of a no-brainer. In the sense that that's not too far from bus and rail. We've expressed concerns about Waycott Cross and around again the fact that it's very quite a long way from the railway line, which obviously runs down the south of the town, as well as issues around around traffic on Waycott Cross and building on the green wedge between there and Bruce. There are other plans which are also within the LDP that's not being discussed at this year, because they're already being talked about, but they'll also be coming forward as well. So that's around Pencoitry and sort of Pencoitry High School and east of there, around proposals for the mole on the waterfront, and also the cabinet meeting this week is also going to be talking about what they call the compound site, which is so that's a proposal to demolish the Broad Street clinic, the old wounds clinic, and build there and next to Gladstone Bridge. So there's quite a lot of development being proposed here. We're concerned that the council get it right. And that means, sort of considering all of those options, what life will be like for those people. And when there are proposals about these being accessible for people, then, we have to, take all those things into consideration, whether that's, lack of community facilities over at the Bendricks, or the impact of building at Waycott Cross. And those are some of the 2 of the areas where we've sort of flagged up, our concerns around it. And obviously, when it comes to a vote on the LDP, which I think will be in the new year, then we'll be, looking at that in the round, and also looking at what happens across the rest of the Vale as well, where there are also some other large sites, not just those in Barry.
That was Plaid Cymru councillors Ian Johnson and Millie Collins talking to our reporter Gareth Joy on calls for a community needs assessment in the Bendricks area of Barry. We asked Vale of Glamorgan Council for a response, and they told us that the development of new social housing is critical to meeting the needs of the local population and ensuring people have a safe, secure and affordable home. The Bendricks site benefits from proximity to Sully, which offers a range of services, including a primary school, community centre, GP surgery and retail provision. The Bendricks is also currently served by the 88 and 94 bus routes, providing links to Penarth and Barry, including rail stations, and also early morning and evening services to Cardiff. This enables residents to take public transport instead of walking or driving. An increase in the population in this area will help support the sustainability of bus services in the area moving forward. Now let's look back at some of the top local news stories from the past week. Here again is Gareth Joy.
Strike action has affected bus services to and from Lanzarote Major. First Company workers began their second 4-day walkout on Wednesday amid an ongoing pay row. The Unite Union went ahead with industrial action last week after members rejected a new offer. First says its door remains open to talks. Unite has accused them of shortchanging staff. 2 men have been charged after fireworks were thrown from a moving vehicle in Cardiff Bay. A police pursuit began after the car was spotted near the Butetown tunnels on Sunday evening. It was eventually tracked down to the Miskin Industrial Estate near Pontyclean. The pair from Birmingham and Sutton Coldfield are due to appear in court later this month. And a new service for recycling textiles has been launched in Barry. Local residents will be able to leave out their unwanted clothes and household fabrics for collection. Vale of Glamorgan Council says it plans to gradually roll out the service across the rest of the county. The first collections will take place on November the 17th during Wales Climate Week. Tributes have been paid to former Barry Town manager Colin Addison, who's died at the age of 85. The ex-Arsenal and Nottingham Forest striker spent a brief spell as director of football at Jenner Park in 2004, in what proved to be his last managerial role. He famously took charge of the Hereford United side, which knocked Newcastle out of the FA Cup in 1972.
Radford again. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! Radford the scorer! Ronnie Radford, and the crowd are invading the pitch, and now it will take some time to clear the field.
Finally, a village school near Cowbridge has been awarded for its support of armed forces families. 2 years ago, Landfire Primary was given bronze status from a charity helping service children in education. Now the St Mary Church School has been upgraded to silver status for their ongoing work with both pupils and the Vale's wider armed forces community.
You're listening to The Vale This Week from Bro Radio. Very shortly, we'll head to a new veterans group in St Athan. But first, I headed to High Street to find out about the fundraising efforts to support an outdoor space for veterans by Health Hub. The founder of a health and wellbeing hub, alongside his business partners, are set to take on a 172-mile fundraising walk from Monday to raise funds towards creating an outdoor space for veterans on High Street in Barry. Jake Hudson is a Royal Navy veteran and has created the health hub to give back to the local community. He told us about the idea behind the hub.
It came from an idea of me going on my journey. So I was on my journey. I was introduced to contrast therapy by my partners in this business, Helen and Ian. We went for a session down in Pembroke, where we went for a sauna. And the next day I woke up and I realised that this had to come to Barry. It's a wellness hub in the heart of Barry, where we offer contrast therapy, we offer Reiki, reflexology, massage therapy, and we've got a hair salon and nail bar. Since we started the Health Hub, we realised obviously it's going to be community focused. Everything that we're doing, we wanted to bring it to the community. In regards to the veterans, we've got everything in the right place now. So we wanted to make this a safe space for veterans. What we're offering downstairs with the contrast therapy, we know that it's obviously working for the community, and I know it could work for the veterans community. So that's why we wanted to obviously offer it as a safe space for the vets.
Whilst the Health Hub is a business, Jake felt it was key for community to be at the centre of everything they do, and that includes the local veteran community.
Once a month now, we're offering the Veterans Wellbeing Day, which is every last Tuesday of the month. With the Veterans Wellbeing Day, we offer it's totally free of charge, the contrast therapy. With the contrast therapy, they get 1 hour in the ice baths and the saunas. And also as well, we have the community room upstairs, where they will have the support from the Armed Forces Liaison Officer, who is Abby Warburton, and also we have an organisation called About Turn, which is run by a guy called Roger Lees. Any veteran that comes here, they're going to be, it's all going to be accessible to them, and it's going to be a place where they can come and just have a chat or a brew, or if they need support, that's going to be accessible to them.
The Health Hub hopes that the fundraising walk will go towards raising £15,000 to fund the construction of a seating and shelter area, installation of an outdoor sauna to support recovery and wellbeing, and a memorial feature for fallen heroes.
So it's 172 miles from HMS Raleigh to Barry. So HMS Raleigh is where I done my phase 1 training when I first joined the forces in 2000. It makes sense, and it falls in line with Remembrance Sunday. So we're going to be doing it around on the 10th of November, the day after Remembrance Sunday parade down in Raleigh. It's going to take us around about 8 days. Okay, 172 miles in total. And all the money that we are going to raise to that is going to go to the Veterans Wellbeing Garden, which is going to be the safe space on the last Tuesday of every month. In the hub at the moment, we've got a community room where we will hold the Veterans Wellbeing Day. But myself, and I know other veterans do like to be outdoors, but also as well, it's on the same level as the contrast therapy. So we're going to be offering a safe area for them to sit and chill and get therapies, have one-to-ones, but also as well, it's going to have an outdoor sauna and also an area where they can do holistic therapies, which we are going to put on for them. There's no actual figure on it, but we're looking to raise in the range of around about £20,000. But with that being said, since the last Veterans Wellbeing Day that we put on, we've established that there are going to be people helping out with supplies in regards to helping the garden grow, and also as well the manpower. So that figure, it's not really, we can't really put a finger on it, but it is in the range of around about £20,000.
You can find out more by searching for Health Hub on social media and follow along with the 172-mile fundraising walk with updates on Vale Breakfast from Monday the 10th of November. And with Health Hub looking at how it can set up support to support the veterans community here in the Vale of Glamorgan, Fiona headed to a new group in St Athan, which has just held its 3rd meeting supporting the local veterans community. Fiona headed to St Athan to meet the Veterans Hub.
With Remembrance Day on Sunday, a new group supporting veterans in St Athan has held its 3rd meeting. St Athan Veterans Hub meets once a month at the golf club, providing a safe space for discussion, connections and support for the local armed forces community. I spoke to the founder of the group and St Athan Community Councillor, Councillor Derek Roberts, who himself is a veteran of the Welsh Guards, and he told me about why he chose to set up the group.
When I became a community councillor July this year, I just thought to myself, how can I improve things with the village? There's one thing we didn't have was a veterans hub. So I came with an idea, talked to another lad called Rob. We got things moving, and it's successful so far. It's important because the soldiers, airmen and the sailors, no matter where they've been, how many times they've served, there will always be the need to reconnect with fellow veterans, because we've got the banter, we look after each other and we get things done, basically. And in the veterans world, especially previous wars, from the Falklands up to now, we need people to talk to with the same experiences. Going forward, I want this place to get bigger and better, help each other as much as we can, but not the veterans itself. We want to help the families, we want to help the community, and also the veterans and serving personnel as well, because we want to help the serving personnel when they're transitioning out of the forces. We're here to give them advice and help, because we have to be through that system. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Despite it only being its 3rd session, the Veterans Hub is proving popular with the local residents, including 93-year-old Mavis Francis Austin, who says the hub helps reignite memories of the past.
It brings me back to my nursing days when I was in the RAF hospital, where the golf club is now in St Athan. Yes, maternity nurse. Yes. 250 babies I have brought into the world. 250. I wonder where they all are in the world.
The group also provides an opportunity for veterans to engage with local organisations and groups who can provide help and support, including the RAF Benevolent Fund. Rob Budgeon, who is one of the organisers, is an ambassador for the charity and attends the hub.
Throughout the country, there's all these hubs or breakfast clubs being set up for people from all the generations across 3 services to come together, have a chat, spin some dits, tell some stories, and just reconnect, really. And I think St Athan has such a prevalent history with the RAF now, the Army, and such a rich history of developing servicemen and women, and it means a lot to a lot of people. And then I just happened to see something on Facebook that Derek has set up, and yeah, just got in contact with them that way, and here we are. I think because what you don't realise, well, a lot of people don't realise, is how many veterans there are in the local area, whether it's St Athan, Cowbridge, Barry, Lanswick Major. All of us have got a love of the armed forces. We're proud of being veterans, and for us to come together, and if we can help each other out, outstanding. That's what it's all about, really, coming together and see what we can do for each other.
Local organisations are also using the events as an opportunity to understand the needs of the local community. Chris Hode is from Help for Heroes, Cardiff and the Vale.
Well, I've been here to do a community mapping exercise. Derek and Rob, the organisers, have kindly invited us in to chat with the attendees to get their opinions on a range of different subjects. Posed 4 questions, one by one, and allowed them time to chat amongst themselves and come up with some opinions and results, and it took off really well. They're extremely important, especially in St Athan, because there's an ex-garrison town, really, and there's a huge amount of veterans locally who I think may feel a little bit forgotten and not necessarily engaging so much with other veterans. They may be connecting with their neighbours in their community, but they're not coming together as a group of veterans. We know as a charity that veterans have their own unique challenges and their own unique needs and requirements, and Help for Heroes are here to help that. I work for the community team, so we're doing specifically a community mapping exercise, but we also have a range of other services and support we can offer.
Whilst the Veterans Hub focuses in on supporting veterans, Councillor Roberts says it's about supporting the full family.
The Veterans Hub is available to all veterans, all serving personnel, and what we want to emphasise on is for the families as well, families and friends. Because the way I see it, think of a Christmas tree. I'm the fairy on the top, right? And then the Christmas tree comes down in a triangle. That shape is all the people I've influenced and had an effect since I've been in the forces. So it's a lot below me. They're important, that they need support as well. This Veteran Hub is open to absolutely anybody. If you've served, if you've got connections with it, more than welcome to come in anytime. More the merrier, we can have more of a laugh.
Find out more about the St Athan Veterans Hub on social media, with the next meeting taking place on Saturday the 29th of November from 10 a.m.
Now, with the week's local sport from around the Vale and a look ahead to international action, here's Gareth.
Thanks, Nathan, and it's been a good week for Barrytown United. For the second year running, they're semi-finalists in the Nathaniel MG Cup after Tuesday's 2-0 win at Halliford West County. Morgan Wigley scored an early penalty in the second half before Yain Owens sealed their spot in the last 4. And it was the prodigious Owen who was also at hand when he scored a quick brace in Barry's 4-1 win at Colwyn Bay in the Cymru Premier. That first win in 6 league outings lifted Steve Jenkins' men back into the top half of the table, going into Saturday's home game with Flint. Elsewhere, Lanswick Major held Trow in Stars to a 1-1 draw in the Cymru South. Coffee Rose equaliser means they're unbeaten in their last 4 league games. Next up is a home clash with Newport City on Saturday. But Barry's ladies are yet to win under their new boss James Fishlock in the Adran Premier. They went down 4-2 to leaders Cardiff City on Sunday, despite goals from Daniel Broadhurst and sub Millie Breen. Barry turned their attention to the Adran Trophy this Sunday when they entertained Cascade at Turner Park. Meanwhile, Wales are preparing for 2 World Cup qualifiers against Liechtenstein and North Macedonia. Leeds winger Dan James is back in the squad after returning to fitness, along with standing captain Ben Davies, who's included despite missing the last month for Tottenham with a hamstring injury. There's still no return for Aaron Ramsey amid reports he's quit Mexican club Pumas after just 5 months. Wales boss Craig Bellamy says it's not up to him to clarify what's going on with his first-choice skipper.
To me, he's not available at this present moment. He's still injured, so it definitely wasn't an option for us. And we're just like yourselves, we're monitored as it goes along.
Now rugby, and as if you didn't need reminding, the Steve Tandy era begins for Wales this weekend. Sunday's clash with Argentina marks the start of their autumn test series in Cardiff, with Louis Rees-Zammit in contention to make his return to international rugby following his flirtation with the NFL. We'll find out on Thursday if he makes the cut. Locally, Penarth remain top of Division 1 in the Admiral League, despite losing at Cambion Welfare by 20 points to 14. Will Odgers scored both tries for the Bears. Meanwhile, there was a damning verdict from Barry head coach Mike Morgan after their 2012 defeat to Redevelling. Quote, "No excuses, we were poor." Unquote. In Division 2, Cowbridge went down 23-19 at Wattstown, while Lanthrop Major got the bragging rights and a bonus point in their Division 3 derby at Dinas Powys, winning by 30 points to 17. And with the autumn tests taking centre stage, Saturday sees the last club action for a few weeks, with Penarth at home to Llanhallen, while Barry go to St Albans in Division 1. Cowbridge host Porth Harlequins in Division 2, while Lanthrop Major welcome Fairwater, and Dinas Powys visit Llantrysant in Division 3. Don't forget to join Mike for a full weekend roundup on Monday Night Sport at 7 p.m, or get the latest at broradio.fm and on the Bro Radio app.
It's been a busy couple of days for events in the Vale of Glamorgan, and with Bonfire Night done and dusted, let's have a look to what's going on in the Vale of Glamorgan over the next week. Here's Kane with our What's On guide.
On Friday, fireworks displays continue with the latest from the Sully Sports and Social Club in partnership with Barry and District Rotary. Gates open at 4 p.m, with the fireworks at 6:30 p.m. Entry is by ticket only at £5 per person. Also on Friday, enjoy an evening of music from one of the UK's leading ensembles and 2025 Eisteddfod winner, CF1 Choir. Doors open at 7 p.m. at St Helens Church, with tickets at £10 each and under 16s entering for free. On Saturday, the Penarth Seniors Club is hosting an autumn coffee morning from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It's happening at Elford Avenue United Reformed Church. It's £1.50 entry, which includes coffee, tea and cake, and some stalls to browse too. On Monday the 10th and Tuesday the 12th, discover the secrets being kept by King March, with a Welsh language panto coming to the Memo. There's 2 shows per day, with tickets at £10 and more at memoartcentre.co.uk. On Tuesday the 11th, Mento Bro Mechanic is hosting its monthly quiz. This month at Palmerston Centre, starting at 6 p.m. Entry is £3 per person, with a prize for the winners, with the event perfect for those learning Welsh. And don't forget, if you're hosting an event in the Vale of Glamorgan, then we'd love to hear about it. List it for free at broradio.fm/events.
And that was the Vale This Week from Bro Radio. Remember, if you have a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Email news@broradio.fm, and you can also find us on social media. Thanks for listening, and don't forget you can hear us each Wednesday from 6:40 p.m. on Bro Radio, or find us wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is produced by Bro Radio. Find out more at broradio.fm and on the Bro Radio app, where you can discover more podcasts and listen back to programmes from the last 90 days.